Oh, my my involvement goes back to the beginning of the movement in Newfoundland, back to 1970, 71, 72. We set up our first band council here in Flat Bay in 1972, and we incorporated the council in 1974.
So my name is Charles Pender. I'm the chair of the Qalipu Mi'kmaq Cultural Foundation. I was appointed by the previous Board of Governors, I guess, and have served in that capacity for about 2 years.
Well, let's talk about Brendan Mitchell. Maybe I'll start back to my earliest beginnings of the Aboriginal movement in Newfoundland, dating back to the early 1970s. My father, Jack Mitchell, was one of the first people to organize Aboriginal people in this area. And I attended the very first meetings. I believe the first one we ever had was in Hotel Cornerbrook, attended by about maybe 25 or 30 people. And from there was a movement afoot involving people in Conn River, Marilyn John, Jerry Wetzel, who was living there at the time, and some others that were in that area, the Jador family. There was a view that Aboriginal people need to be recognized, people need to become more aware of their heritage, their culture, and an opportunity to try to do things for Aboriginal people, particularly in the West Coast.
Well, a lot of it was just a belief and an acceptance of first of all, the belief that our people were here, that we were legitimate people. I wouldn't be discouraged or swayed by the naysayers who talked about no Indians in Newfoundland. The only Indians were ever here were the Biotics, and once they had all gone, the last being Sean Diddy, I think, or Mary March, Sean Diddy, and whatever. I can't think of the year right now, but that would have been the end of an Aboriginal population in Newfoundland. I knew different than that, having grown up in this community, and was very much aware of many Aboriginal people. I was also very much aware of the Conn River people.
Well, the idea, I guess, is to try to preserve the Mi'kmaq culture for those of us who are around today and for the future generations, but it's also a goal, I guess, to reacquaint people with the cultural traditions, or introduce people to cultural traditions, especially people such as myself and my family who were not brought up as Mi'kmaq, and many people like myself didn't realize that we had Mi'kmaq ancestry until recently. So we want to preserve culture, we want to authenticate what is, Mi'kmaq cultural and keep it accurate, respect our elders, respect the past, but also to share that with new, people into the Mi'kmaq culture and trying to learn about what the culture is about, what the people are about.
Today, we see a lot of interest in culture, of course, in what's going on. People are starving for culture. They want to get reconnected to the culture of Aboriginal people and Mi'kmaq people particularly. And all over the province and outside of the province even, people are saying, how can we learn more? How can we get involved in teachings and workshops about culture? Because, it's a part of our history and our heritage that was, strong long ago, but kind of got put by the wayside.
So there's been a number of things that have been ongoing. We've held classes, for instance, on how to teach people to make moccasins, for instance, in a traditional way. We've had, walks through, looking through the parks and so on for medicinal ingredients and natural ingredients. We've held days with, I think it's a grade 5 classes in the schools here about, it could be things from drum making to other things and singing and drumming, all those types of things.
There's a misunderstanding of at this point in time by many people of culture. And a lot of people are looking at the powwow, and they're looking at the sweat lodges, and they're looking at, at the smudging, and they're looking at all of this stuff, and they're calling that culture. And that's an aspect of culture. There's no argument or no denying there. But that's not really what I look and what I call Mi'kmaq culture. Mi'kmaq culture is what I grew up with. It's people sharing and caring for each other, people working together. If you came to this community in say 1950, I was born in 1943. By the time I'm 5, 6 year old, I have some good memories of the community and from there onward. And if you come into this community in the late 40s and in the early 50s, all you had to do, you didn't have to talk to anybody. All you had to do was walk through the community and you would have seen culture. Culture would be, somebody with a half a dozen dogs chained on in their field with little houses for their dogs, because we all use dogs in the wintertime to travel the interior, which we call the country, and haul moose meat and caribou meat. It was also people used for hauling their firewood. People used their dog teams to go to the store, to go to the far end of the community, or even to go outside the community wintertime. So that's one of the things you'd see. You'd see snowshoes hanging on everybody's shed door on the side of their house. You'd see heel spears hanging on the fence.
For the first year and a half or so, it was really about creating the foundation, so going through all of our bylaws, all of our legal work, getting established as a charitable foundation. We just recently had an evening where we had a fundraiser, and that was very successful. So that gives us a few dollars to be able to do other things and to provide education to those who are looking for assistance, I guess, and looking to find a way and look what is authentic Mi'kmaq culture.
Let me say this. Qalipu circulated a survey in 2015 asking people, members, what their priorities were. And one of the 3 priorities of people in our organization is culture.
When I got involved in the Aboriginal movement in the 70s, and I had the opportunity to travel across the country and was invited and had the pleasure of visiting many reserves in the Maritimes and in other parts of the country, I didn't see I didn't see culture the way I grew up into culture. I didn't see Aboriginal culture. I saw a lot of poverty. I saw a lot of rundown houses. I saw a lot of people who had social problems. I saw a lot of people who had a dependency on government handout, through no fault of their own, of course. But I saw a lot of deterioration into a human being as growth and the children. And I saw I saw neglect, and I saw a lot of those things. I saw a lot of family violence, or was brought to my attention a lot of these type of things. That's not culture. Nobody lives like that unless there's a breakdown in their culture.
I guess it's a question of what it means to you personally, and as each individual is different, and their spiritual relationship with the culture and their ancestors, and getting to know that and learning whether it's aspects of the language, aspects of the culture, how much you want to participate in the culture.
So those are some of the things that we're doing, and we're just getting there. We have a lot to do in culture, and as I said earlier, people are extremely hungry to know about culture, language, and teachings.
Any undertaking that is going to support and enhance the development of Aboriginal people, regardless of what aspect is done, is a positive thing.